computer. All right. I want to welcome Jason Wilson here today. He is a friend of mine. He has been participating with various freedom advocacy groups through Abilene, and he is a teacher there as well. And so welcome, Jason.
Hey, Karen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
I'm great. It's a weekend. I'm relaxing.
Very good. Very good. So how are things in Abilene lately? Like, what have you been working on late? Are you still with vaccine? What is it? Abilene Vaccine Information. Wait, say it again.
I still share some information with that page. I'm pretty much the only person involved with that. I work better alone, I think. There is a group that I helped to kickstart. We founded the Abilene Freedom League, and then they quickly kicked me. Well, they didn't. I left the group. We had a disagreement, but they've done some good work. And I think I should give a shout out to them. They've gotten in the local media for doing some good things. And there is a health summit coming up here in Abilene where they're going to have Dr. Peter McCullough, and Texans for Vaccine Choice is going to be coming to that.
Cool.
That's a pretty big deal. I'm pretty proud. I won't be going because it's more speaking to the choir with me, but I want others to go who are newer to the whole story. So there's some, and one of their events, somebody that does what is it called, Eventbrite or something like that.
Yes.
They last minute canceled this health summit on them with 200 people at least had bought seats, and all of a sudden Eventbrite, I believe it was, canceled. They tried to cancel the event. It will go on, but that's happening. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. But the health summit is coming up here in Abilene, and I hope people do.
So the show will go on.
The show will go on.
Good.
Oh, and you may not know this, but I'm not sure if you know Derek Bros.
Yes, I do.
Is an activist here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you did. He's
Well,
running
he's
for
living
mayor of
in,
Houston.
isn't he living in Mexico now?
That was my understanding, but I do know that he is now announcing that he is running for mayor of Houston.
Again?
Yes.
Okay.
That I just found that out right before I came on with you, Karen.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, he's run before. And I think it's a good thing because it's a platform for him, even if he doesn't win, to get certain messages of his what he's doing and stuff like that. It gets that message out there, I think, to the world, which I think is really important. Because he does the Greater Reset activation, Greater Reset, which is different than the Great Reset. And it's about he works with John Bush, who does, I think his name is John Bush, does the Exit and Rebuild as well seminar. And they also started the freedomcells.org together, which is how I've met a lot of people through my local area to connect with other freedom lovers in the areas through freedomcells.org. So him getting that message.
I never did that, and I need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I encourage everyone to sign up for freedomcells.org, and it's just really important for us to find one another and to start building our own communities together and find out what we can do locally to help our neighborhoods. You know, we've organized trash cleanup days and stuff like that that are outside of the system of governance. So if you don't like government, don't rely on them for everything, and look for other ways that you can do things for your city without begging the government to do it. Is like kind of the way I see it.
Amen. And well, that being said, you asked what was going on in Abilene. We do have pretty interesting things going on in local politics. A guy named Ryan Goodwin is running for mayor here, and he's a pretty good guy. I worked with him on a couple of campaigns in the past, and he's now running himself for mayor. And he just represents something other than Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need more people that are not on board with the New World Order agenda getting into. I mean, I believe that in some sort of organization and hierarchy. I don't think it has to be government, but I think that the best way to get out of government is to start getting these types of people in the small local government to try to, I know it's like, don't join the mob to change the mob, but in local governance issues, it's a really quick way to turn things around. And even if they don't win, they get that message out there and people start thinking outside the box of government. Like it's like you're coming to a city council meeting and you're hearing somebody, or a town hall where the different candidates are talking, and one of the candidates presents an idea that we stop relying on government so much and we disconnect ourselves from it and we do all these other things. It sort of opens up people's mind. It plants that seed that we don't need that kind
Right.
of, and how to start organizing together outside of the system is another good message that we tend to get from these types of people at town hall meetings that I think is important to.
Right.
It's a good way to reach the normies, with the message, and to come across, less like such a like weirdo outsider.
Right.
If they're familiar with the political system, they don't want somebody that's like so outside of that box that they don't even relate to them anymore. So it makes people relatable when they see them, in a suit and tie or whatever, just kind of helps. It helps.
Yeah.
It helps that you don't look like a circus freak show person to try to
Reminds
spread
me of a few
liberty.
campaigns.
Hmm?
Right. It reminds me of somebody else that ran a few years ago. Let me see if you can see this.
Oh yeah.
See that?
Yeah, he was a
That
respectable guy and relatable.
yeah. Last guy I voted for a president. Um, maybe the last. But
Mm,
anyway, I think we vote with our dollars. I made a
I
post the other
agree.
day here in Abilene. I made a post about I joined a group on FB, and it's called it's talking about keeping cash worldwide, this digital currency, fighting against that,
Hmm.
and somebody made a post and I reposted it of we should boycott businesses that won't take cash, or boycott business, or only support businesses who do cash only. And this one guy commented, I don't use cash at all. I pay all my bills with a credit card. I use cash apps and all this. And I'm like, this is the problem. This is the problem.
Yeah.
Especially those of you who don't see the threat here. I know it's easy. It's convenient. Somebody else does it for you. You don't have to worry about losing some cash. But is it going to be worth it when you have no privacy in your transactions?
Even better if we could get to like some other form of currency that the powers that should not be have are making so much money off of inflation all the time. Like the value of even a cash dollar is being robbed by Federal Reserve and all these other like central banks and stuff like that. So even if we could do crypto more or other types of decentralized currencies and stuff, or decentralized platforms to get those types of, and there are more and more people taking those types of exchanges. So, and you can use your phone and the convenience of your phone for that. So that kind of
Mm,
helps. It can help.
I don't. I don't like technology. I like things that I can physically touch and hold.
Yeah.
By the way, I've got to ask you. Speaking of the Federal Reserve, the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, and you met
D.
a few
Edward
years ago.
Griffin. I
G.
yeah.
Edward Griffin. How was that? Tell me about that experience of meeting G. Edward Griffin.
You know what? Honestly, I walked over. Aaron talked to him. I didn't really, and just I think he got him to sign his book, and that was it. We mainly just came to listen to a speech that he was doing, so it wasn't like we got to like sit down and have a dinner or a big. So, His speech was interesting. I think it felt still very much like we need government to, I don't know. His speech wasn't very anarchist to me. It was kind of a letdown, actually.
Was it a?
You're
Would
not
you
going to want to
characterize?
hear this story. It was like this whole,
Yeah,
like, the
you told
proper
me.
form of government is as a protectorate. And so they need to be, protecting us and whatever.
Yeah,
But it's a very tricky area because when people hear that, they think we need the government for defense. And then our defense right now is sending people all over the world to like blow up random strangers, and whatever. So it's not really protecting us at all. But, it's
it was a bit of
just,
a status.
it
You're talking
felt
about
a little
statism.
statist for an anarchy conference speech. I was a little disappointed by it personally, but I
Yeah,
think G. Edward Griffin is a great guy. I don't think he meant to come off statist, but I think it could have easily been interpreted that way. Um, and he supports so much his Red Pill, is it Red Pill Expo that he runs? And so that he does a lot of different things that I think are totally worth supporting and that are great. He's old now, he's getting
yeah.
up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, but anyway,
So
yeah, I
I
remember
want
you
to know
referring to
about
that with him.
I wanted to know what's going on in Abilene schools right now. You want to talk to me about what, because
Yeah,
you're on the front lines.
yeah.
Educate.
Well, okay. And I got into a better environment as far as where I'm at, but I had a most concerning conversation just yesterday with a kid that came in very quiet and shy, and is the type that you can see getting bullied somewhere. At any rate, I asked her how she was liking it there, and she said she liked it. And started sharing with me her experiences from previous schools. And she told me that she was going to school at one of our rural schools around here. It's Jim Ned, okay, and it's out, I guess, by Tuscola. And a lot of people choose to send their kids there rather than have them here in Abilene city schools, um, because of the bullying and the thugs and the drugs and everything else that happens in a bigger city school.
Okay, yeah.
Which
Makes
Abilene's
sense.
not a big city, but you just start to see this rot and degeneration everywhere. Where Abilene's not a big city, but we're starting to look more and more like a Houston or Dallas inner city schools district. And this girl said that at Jim Ned, which is rural, that she was bullied relentlessly and brutally, I would say.
Oh,
And
that's
that,
terrible.
yeah, a disturbing thought occurred to me that maybe, maybe America is asking to be destroyed from within. When we can't even be decent when we're away from the big cities. There is no like heartland. There's no like what do they call it, the salt of the earth people anymore. That's when you're in a lot of danger. It doesn't matter who's running your country. It doesn't matter who wins as a president or governor or anything else. If the people themselves don't care about their own kids and their own communities, and you
Yeah.
see them, they send their kids, they send their own kids to school eating Takis and eating dry ramen noodles and drinking energy drinks in the morning. And you think, well, we've given up on ourselves. Why nuke America? We've nuked ourselves within.
That's really sad. I mean, I hear you totally. I think a big part of it is that we have become so political and we have given, even anarchists have become so like anarchy as political standpoint or an ideology and the principles, and they may be good, but they make the label more important, and how you label yourself more important than how people are getting along with each other and just treating each other. And while I agree, we do have to take care of ourselves first and this, that, and the other, it just, a little kindness, a little sensitivity, a little diplomacy and respect go a long way. And can you convey a message of truth without being rude, ugly, disrespectful, small,
Well,
you know?
we can make a
Uh,
choice between being like that, being civilized, or it can be like Idiocracy, where they get up there behind the podium and the official salute is the middle finger, where they're flipping everybody off in the audience. You've seen Idiocracy, right?
yes, yes. And I think a big part of it is that because everything's so politicized now, what we have done is we've put principles over people and politics over people. And so whenever as an individual, I or you or someone else individually puts those principles and those politics ahead of the human being that's in front of them, they've got like, you're a label and this is what you stand for. And it's like, well, you're not going to get anywhere if you're just trying to be a label or trying to associate with labels. This is a statist, this is a voluntarist, this is a this is a that. And instead of
Yeah.
thinking, this is a complicated human being with a lot of thoughts and ideas and a lot of rich wealth of experience, that to get through to this person, I need to speak to their heart, to their humanity, and you know, get to know them outside of all of that bull crap, because usually every day there's people doing great things and wonderful loving things, and some people would say, well, that is true voluntarism, or that is true communism, or that everybody would, when I describe that, everybody believes their ism is attributed to those types of qualities, but really it boils
Yeah.
down to fuck your isms and just be a human being and talk to other human beings and put humanity first, maybe it's
You know,
humanitarianism, but I don't know, that also is hijacked. Labels can just so easily be hijacked and become something else, and
well, I agree with you. At the same time, it's interesting. I have seen where it seems that people are putting people and personalities over principles, like the
yes.
Republican Party. Instead of the Republican Party standing for uh, belief in a creator, belief in a freedom, in the Bill of Rights, instead of that, it becomes about Donald Trump.
Well, that's not putting a person in front of a principle. At that point, Donald Trump isn't a person unto himself. He's an idea. He's like an ideologue. And then again, he's just another label because you're a Trumper if you support him. So again, he becomes kind of the mascot for a label, I think. And that's not about putting, again, you're still, if you're doing that, you're still putting principles ahead of humans and people. And you're still putting politics in front of people in that regard, I think, because you're not talking to Trump. So it's not like you're having a personal relationship with Trump that you have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to put your principles ahead of your personal relationship with Trump. You're not dealing with Trump on a personal level. So he's not a person that you're personally associating with to even, do you know what I'm
But
saying?
Karen, once you've accepted Trump into your heart and he forgives all your sins,
He's the
are you saying
Messiah
these people
now.
they don't have a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
Mm, not unless he comes over for dinner every Friday night, or they get him
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
phone and they have long conversations with him, or
I'm sure he'd be caught dead out at their lakeside house or their, rural home. I'm sure Trump would love to go to dinner at some place like that. He would,
I think
you
he's a
know,
germaphobe, so I don't think he would be there.
he might ask to stay on your couch overnight. So be ready.
I think he'd have to wash his hands a lot.
He'd probably have to sleep in a plastic bag being suspended from the ceiling. He wouldn't be caught with these people. He wouldn't be caught dead jumping in your dirty pickup truck like I do. Like I am happy. Like that's where I feel most at home, in a dirty pickup truck with a 6-pack of beer going out to a tank to go fishing. That's not fun to him. Okay. He's not your
No,
buddy. He's not
No.
your buddy.
No, so again, it goes back to this because that's not a person that you're dealing with. And so we're talking, when I say we need to put people ahead of principles, I mean not people like a collective. I mean the people, the individual people in our lives that we're dealing with from day to day. I mean our neighbor across the street, our neighbor next door. We're not just like trashing our houses and parking our cars on our lawn because it suits us and being a plague to our neighbors. We're not, you know, doing all these things that make us unneighborly and unapproachable. We're not sitting there sneering at them going, oh, they're statists, or oh, they're Republicans, or oh, they're Democrats, or oh, they're this, or and I'm guilty of it too, because I'll just see that like little we have no hate here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to test that. When people put those slogans on their yard, you know, with the rainbow flag and the no hate here or whatever, Aaron's always like, yeah, like when it, I just wait for a fundamentalist Christian or something to come and see how long their no hate holds out.
That's right.
but
Hold
but
on.
nonetheless, I have my judgments about their sign in their yard. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like they're people, we can,
Yeah.
and talking to them like they're people. And there's, because of all of that, politicizing everything and making everything about principles instead of people, and instead of, I think it's like political principles rather than like true human values or verities of God or verities of um loving human beings, you know, just kind of like more altruistic ideas of values. You know, when we put these like ideologue type principles in politics and stuff, what happens is like I do see their sign in their yard, and then when I'm associating with them, trying to meet them at a human level, they're still in my heart and in the back of my mind. There's fear because I can see that they have prioritized something enough that they're like throwing it out there on their lawn, like to their neighbors, this is who we are, you know, and all this, you know, nonsense. You know, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, so it is what it is. So what are you thinking about, what are you thinking about what are you thinking about schools now, since like you've had this conversation with this child that's dealing with this bullying and all of this stuff?
Well, I will say this: at this school, of course, bullying will happen, but you see, it's a smaller school, and it's a diverse population of kids. You'll see, like the popular girls will be hanging out with the boys who are less popular, things like that. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
just, I love the school itself. What I'm worried about more is the fabric of society,
Yeah.
where it's the parents sending them to school with talkies, or the kids telling you, I'm not being fed enough. It's just
And
like
for
we
people
need
that
to,
don't know, Takis are kind of like Cheetos, and that's their lunch for the day, is this bag of toxic crap that has no nutritional value to it whatsoever, is what he's talking, like flaming hot Takis are like flaming hot Cheetos, basically, right? Pretty
yeah,
much. Yeah.
with MSG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all terrible, not healthy. And so you're saying like basically the school you think is a barometer to some degree for the whole of society, and how people are
Um,
treating their kids at school by like saying like the future generation doesn't have to live because
well,
they're not going to survive on no nutrients. It's like we don't actually have to feed them. We're just going to like,
we
yeah.
all know that health doesn't come from a bag of Takis. We
Yeah.
know that health comes from big corporations. Hold on a second. Oh, I had to get myself a booster there, just for precautionary. It's been cold outside. I might get a sniffle. It's booster shot time.
Yeah. You keep them on hand so that you can do that whenever
Yeah.
you need it.
Walgreens Walgreens has a special deal on self-serve coup sticks. And so I'll probably be giving myself multiple injections throughout this interview
Okay. Thank you.
because I'm staying home and I'm staying safe.
Yeah. Oh, good. Another one.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's been the last one just wore off.
Yeah. Okay. But you might not need to do the other arm too. I think I heard you're supposed to switch
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
other. I'm just a little concerned because you didn't do the other arm yet.
I'll take care of that. But I don't want to give it too soon. I'm going to give it a 5 minutes or so.
Oh yeah,
So the
that's
effectiveness
good.
of the last.
Yeah. Five
You wait
minutes
for
is
the.
good. It's really important that we wait 5 minutes because, it's kind of like the way with the mask when you walk into a restaurant, you need to wear it. And then it's like, okay, after you sit down to take it off.
And by the way, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded. Karen, if I happen to pass out during this interview and you never see any evidence that I'm alive after this, please don't say I'm dead because that would just be a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, thank goodness you made it.
right. And
What we do
NBC,
know is that you're still thankful that you got your booster today. You're still grateful.
yeah. Um,
He's still
and
even
I'm
if
not sure if you're
even if
familiar
he's
with
dead, he's grateful he took his booster.
I'm
Because
not sure if you know what I'm talking about, but
he
NBC.
protected, well, not really. He didn't really protect other people, but you gave people the illusion of, well, you gave people the confidence to know that even though you weren't really protecting other people, you wanted to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the thought that counts.
Yes, it's a thought. It
Um,
really is. That's what it boils down to. That's what we've got to do. We got to like care about each other.
and if I do happen to disappear from all social media and all appearances in public completely,
Hmm.
I think the best evidence that I'm still alive
Yeah.
would be for NBC to do a documentary where they don't ever interview me.
Oh,
What do you think?
I agree. I agree totally. If they, talk
You know who
to
I'm talking about here?
everybody that all the doctors that talk to you, um, and all the people at Walgreens that gave you those shots to say that, like, they saw you come in recently and they're pretty sure they
Yeah,
saw you come in within the last couple of weeks.
I can
All
prove
they
that
need.
Elvis is still alive. He's over there. He's over there. Okay. Hey, Elvis. There's your proof, NBC audience. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Mhm.
Okay. Rest in peace, Tiffany, is all I got to say.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so well, I mean, you mean on her vacation because she's probably just out on vacation right now.
Permanent.
Yeah, yeah, she's on. Yeah, but you know,
She's on
um,
vacation with the fishes.
no, yes, in Acapulco, Mexico. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
For just until we forget about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
NBC.
Ohio, should we talk about Ohio?
Yeah. Let's do it.
What do you know so far?
I know
What have you
that
heard so far?
I know Joe Biden cares very much for those people, and so does the Secretary of Transportation. I'm tired of these conspiracy theorists claiming otherwise.
Yeah.
When they've determined it's safe for them, they will be there. But it's safe for the people that live there, just not for people who don't live there right now.
Well, wait. They have to determine it's safe for government officials. They don't have to determine it's safe for the average person because the average person has protection from stuff because they're in their house.
Well, they've been eating Takis for so long that they've become immune to all poison.
Yeah, they've built up a sort of endurance and a certain it's kind of like people that take snake venom little by little, and then they're kind of inoculated, vaccinated almost, if you would say, from toxic chemicals, because yeah, you're right, probably the Takis and the Taco Bell.
They can eat a whole bag of MSG, and it's like Popeye ate a can of spinach.
Yeah.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, they were ready for they are more than prepared for a chemical shitstorm.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Yeah.
So that's what I know about Ohio, is that it's perfectly safe, just not for Biden and Buttigieg. Actually, he did show up the other day. I think Buttigieg finally got there, and they had a reporter asking him why it took so long for him to get there. And his public relations person said that they'd be happy to talk to them off camera, but please
Oh,
turn
okay.
those cameras off.
So I'm sure
So,
he had like a very reasonable explanation. Like he just got back from vacation on the taxpayer dime in the Bahamas or Bali or somewhere. And
yeah,
yeah, or
he first
Belize,
got,
one of those B places.
he said, quote, "I'm here about the choo-choo."
He said it like that?
No,
No.
no, he didn't. But that's probably what he knew trains as before he became transportation secretary. Choo-choos and vroom vrooms.
Choo-choos and vroom vrooms and mirror open up. Mirror.
they told him the train went.
I love it.
It's the,
But
like I said,
we're all better off
idiocracy.
with these people looking out for our best interests. That's all we need.
Oh yeah, President Camacho has got y'all. As he gives you the middle finger, F you.
Right back
We've
at
all got to watch. We all got to rewatch Idiocracy now.
Yeah, everybody should watch it again. And what's the other one? We like Wall-E, where
Yeah.
everybody's like really, really fat and sitting in chairs and they're drinking those Slurpees for their
Oh,
health or whatever those are.
by the way, I got to give a Texas shout out. Idiocracy was written by Mike Judge, who last I heard he was a Texas resident. Same guy behind Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill and Office Space. He did all that stuff. The guy is pretty brilliant. And yeah, with Idiocracy, he said, "I'm no prophet. I was 490 years off."
Right. Is he the South Park guy? No, that's somebody else.
No, that's others.
Okay, because they had a great one recently too. They've been doing a lot of funny stuff lately on South Park.
I believe they're Canadian.
Yeah, they are. They are, now that you remind me. Yes, they're not Texans.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's why they still get so much airplay.
Right. Oh, but we mentioned Derek running for mayor of Houston.
Okay.
And I would have to say, when you think of Houston, you think of everything but an old white guy who was the first president of Texas and the first governor of Texas. And when you think of an old white guy, the last thing you think of is, especially when he was a president and a governor, is that he would have ran off to live with the Cherokee Native Americans twice.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Houston. I think Sam Houston would be proud of Derek and his commitment to freedom, as Sam Houston ran off to live with the Cherokees twice, married a Cherokee woman, and became an honorary Cherokee himself.
Yeah. Cared about the people.
Well, I'd say he cared about himself.
The people over the principles, maybe.
I think he just wanted. He said it himself. He said, "I preferred the wild freedom of the red man over the tyranny of my brothers."
Yeah, so Gertrude Bell kind of ran off to the desert too. She was around the time of like that T. Lawrence, the guy that was the inspiration for Lawrence of Arabia. And
Yeah,
Gertrude Bell also was like the British Empire. She just didn't want to be a sovereign. She wanted to be free. And so she got on camels and went and lived out in the middle of nowhere by herself, learned like living with the Bedouins and tribes and stuff like that of you know the Arabian people. They were tribal. They didn't have a country or a flag at the time.
right.
Like Eddie Izzard
That's
says, no
interesting.
country, no flag.
And I
No
that's a
flag,
new
no
one to me. I wasn't
country,
aware
it's
of that.
ours. Do you have a flag? Have you seen any of
You'll
that?
have to remind me that.
He
Tell me
has a
more
whole
about that
skit
scene,
on
Karen.
how the English showed up to India, and they were like, "We're conquering this in the name of the Queen," and they staked their flag in the ground, and they say, "You can't claim us. We live here. There's such and such million of us," and they said, "Do you have a flag?" No flag, no country,
Right?
no
Oh
take back.
wow.
Yeah, it's a whole little joke about how like the English conquered the world using the cunning use of with the cunning use of flags. Well, we have a
Well,
flag,
I'll
so
say
we're
this about.
real.
Yeah,
Palestine should have had a flag. The Palestinians
I
should
guess
have,
so, huh?
then they could have been an official country. They needed a flag.
Then they might be able to get from their house to a hospital to give birth to a baby or something, you
Well,
know?
I mean, they have a flag now, but they might be able to keep their homes. You can keep your homes.
Hey, are you saying there's something wrong with Rothschild Avenue in downtown Tel Aviv?
Nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
No, of course not.
As
Okay,
long as they
well,
moved there under a flag. So then it's okay.
and under the Rothschilds don't hurt either.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah,
They
they
care
are.
about
Salt,
us.
salt of the earth.
They care
There you
about
go.
us.
Philanthropic is how I refer to them.
Yeah. Well, aren't they all? I mean, Bill Gates is the most philanthropic.
Yeah, I really, I regret uh, pretending to be Bill Gates at the Constitutional Rights Summit in 2020, acting like a villain, portraying Bill Gates as a villain. I I really can't sleep at night now knowing that I portrayed him that way.
Yeah.
When obviously it looks like now uh, he's backing away from these things right here um, after he's made a lot of money off them. So at least he's finally backing away from them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that would be a good thing. I think he should have just stayed with them. I mean, again, it's the thought that counts. And so he's backing away from the thought, or maybe he's using the money that he made by selling off his stock shares to do other more philanthropic things like block out the sun and kill all the crops and those types of things that are more helpful to humanity.
Well, we know one thing he's not backing up to anymore, and that's Melinda.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, he's been buying greener pastures.
Oh, isn't that encouraging?
Anywho, so Jason, what else is new in your world?
Really not a thing, except really not. Um, I may do some things in the future, but for right now, I'm just kind of laying pretty low and
Yeah,
watching it burn.
yeah. Yeah. Well, you own your own place, so you don't have to be too like nervous about what's to come as much as people that may not.
And that, I think that's one thing we should all advocate for.
Yeah.
We need
We were talking about the
economic
American dream.
the American dream not being the American dream anymore, being so difficult for anybody to
Right.
own their own house. Uh, this
I
country
think
is
they're
not
trying to
sustainable.
reframe the American dream. The new American dream is to get your own gender reassignment surgery for
Mm,
free. Well,
yeah,
have taxpayer funded gender reassignments. I think that's the new American dream. We've really improved, and it's very progressive, like it is a big sign of progress that the American dream was owning your own home or owning a piece of land, and now it has really, elevated itself to having taxpayer funded gender reassignment surgeries, I think.
yeah. I don't think anybody needs to lay down on a leather couch and talk to this about anybody.
No, yeah, it's all
Um,
good. I think things
yeah.
are just really going in the right direction.
Well, I will say this. I will say that as you've seen all this decay and all this digression, you have seen people stand up and start to fight a little bit more than I ever really thought I would see. I never, I was one of the only radicals that believed in anything around me in my life. And suddenly, you know, you see people popping up with organizations, running with ideas, and making them happen and fighting for their rights. I met a mom a while back, and she came in to volunteer for a book fair we were having. Some parent volunteers came in, and this one lady looked at me and she goes, "Are you the guy with the Facebook group?" And I was like, "That depends." And she goes, "The unmask," and I was like, "Yeah, like, is that okay with you?" Anyway,
Yeah.
she said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm a member."
Oh,
And
cool.
so now when I see her kid in class, her kid's one of those quieter ones, and if anybody tries to pick on her, I'm like, leave this one alone. Her mom's a member. I
I was just
love
talking
these
to a
people who had the
friend.
comments.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm done. Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I was talking to a friend about, about how, sir, for us to make change, we may need to start exercising a certain amount of nepotism and prejudice, which we've been like defensive nepotism and defensive prejudice, which we've been programmed our whole lives to be afraid of, those types of ideals. But it's something that maybe in the future, or to have a future, we might need to start exercising to some degree, you know.
Hey, loyalty goes a long way. Family comes first,
Hmm.
uh, and then
Family,
friends.
friends.
And if you believe in being a free human, I will do anything I can for you
Excellent.
because you're looking out for me. You're looking out for me. I'll look out for you. We gotta have camaraderie. We gotta have community.
Yes, comrade. Join the commune. Join
So
Jason's commune.
I believe in fighting for our. We need to fight for our rights at home before we start fighting foreign countries. You know.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other topic, isn't it? We're gonna go,
It is.
we're jumping all over the place today.
Well, I think we could end with that. Let's start a modern day peace movement, and show people that conservatives finally have their heads screwed on straight after Iraq and Afghanistan and all the crap that they fell for. Have they woken up now that maybe it's time to mind our own business and fix our own gate, fix our own house?
Have they?
I think to a great degree, a lot of them have.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I know that Donald Trump got elected. Of course, But this goes back to George Bush Jr. He got elected partially on not believing in this nation building.
I was just discussing this with someone else. Every single president at one of my Freedom Cell meetings, every single president gets elected on some sort of slightly anti-war sentiment, anti-interventionist idea, that's always the platform. And then they end up coming back and, as they're in there, it's I had this delicious piece of cake as we dropped this fantastic bomb on the people of Syria or whatever, or wherever it was. You know what I mean? It's just like, what?
Yeah. Or the people who knocked these buildings down will soon hear from all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always get their crisis. And people are amazed when you talk about the Reichstag fire in Germany and things like that. But this is an old trick. You run on peace, and then I was attacked and I was forced to take you to war.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good that we talk about it, so maybe people start to notice those patterns. So when they come up again, where they're like, oh no, what about the people of this country where they really need us? They'll be like, wait a minute, I've seen this pattern before. Maybe I could just take a second and get more information before I just jump on what the TV is telling me to do bandwagon, regardless of whether it's Fox or MSNBC. They all need to be taken with the same grain of salt, perhaps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like every phone call you get is from a scammer. Most of what you see in the world is a scam.
Yeah.
So stop being a sucker.
Well, yeah, stop being a sucker. You've heard it here first. You heard it here, folks, from Jason, and I'm second that. And yeah. Well, Jason,
I like your studio.
What's that?
I like your studio.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I'm liking yours too. I'm liking the whole. I think you got a new camera or something. It looks really. You look very clear.
I got a new phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I brushed some of the beer cans off of this counter. That's why you can see me so clearly.
Where's the Takis?
Now, that's something you will not find in my house.
Okay.
Not only is it not
that's
good
where you
for
draw the line.
It's the Takis are definitely on the other side of the line. I'm not sure how much distance between the line. I thought about getting McDonald's the other day.
Yeah.
But Takis are not even close to being food.
Yeah.
Stop feeding your kid Takis and goldfish, people.
Yeah.
Get them another booster shot.
Other arm.
Oh, don't you love these kids?
Uh-oh, you didn't do the 5 minutes. You didn't do the 5 minutes, Jason.
Oh, take them in for their wellness visit. This message has literally been brought to you by Merck. Like this idiocracy is all over the place.
Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Jason. And how about we wrap this up? You want to tell them where to find your stuff, what your organizations are, for people to find out more information about getting those boosters?
Where
do they find out the real information about getting those boosters, Jason?
They can here locally, Abilene Information Network. Or just my Facebook page, Jason
Is it
Wilson.
Abilene Information Network, or is it Abilene Vaccine Information Network?
We took vaccine off.
You did? So you took it out?
Yeah. Abilene Information Network.
Oh, okay. And then they can find out more about getting those boosters and the 5-minute wait and all of that.
That's right, Karen. They can get more medical misinformation right here. And I would actually
medical information.
Oh, sorry. But I would actually refer them to Texans for Vaccine Choice.
Okay.
I'm not a member of that group, but they do great work here in Texas. Texans for Vaccine Choice and Texans for Vaccine Freedom.
Okay, excellent. I'm glad that people can find you and see what you're doing and get updates and enjoy your you know, humor and your memes, all the good stuff,
Thank
kind
you,
of
Karen, and thanks for
e-
having me. This is an
ease
honor.
ease their way into stuff with just a little humor. And with
Uh,
that, I want to thank everybody for following and watching. And I can't find my recording button for some reason now. Yes. So thank you all for joining us today, and me and Jason, and it has been a pleasure talking with Jason, as it always is. And thank you for watching all.
Thank you, my friend.